I love our community, Elle. I love it. All right, here we go, guys. The Banana Blitz. We got 13 minutes away for this show, so we're going to do it. It's UFC Nashville. We're finally back. Had an off week. It makes us want fights so much more. It's a good show. I like the show a lot. Let me do this for Grant to maybe he can see the card a little bit. But I think it's a really good card. There's a lot of fights on it. Yeah, maybe the main event's a little soft, but Banana Blitz UFC Nashville edition starting right now. Ladies first. Elle, what's the most hype fight for the card for you?
The most hype fight for me is easy, and that's Calvin Kattar versus Steve Garcia. I'm so excited for this fight. I don't think the main event and the co-main event have quite enough punch to overshadow how exciting this fight is going to be for me.
Nice. All right, Grant, most hype fight for you for UFC Nashville?
Honestly, that's the correct answer.
Okay.
I'm excited about Wonder Boy and Bomb Theme. Like Bomb Theme's kind of on a tear right now. A lot of wins, a lot of finishes. Yep. I'm interested. And dude, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson seems to be the guy that time forgot. So I don't know. I think he's
the prospect killer.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's 51 years old, somewhere around there, and he's still beating guys. So I'm excited about that one.
Looks exactly the same as he did when he was 33.
Looks younger.
Like
he looks amazing. We posted on Fight Bananas. I actually don't know the answer. Is Stephen Thompson a future UFC Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Really?
I'm gonna say no.
You don't think he gets his flag?
I don't think he is right now.
Belt, look, he didn't win a belt.
Didn't win a belt.
What was his fight? Like Rory McDonald versus Robbie Lawler.
I agree.
I
agree with you, Grant.
That fight, unbelievable.
That's fair.
So, what's that fight for you with Wonder Boy?
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't think of it.
You ready for this one? What's his best win?
That's an even better question.
Let's see. Let's pull it up.
I think it's Gilbert Burns.
He didn't beat Gilbert Burns.
No, he lost that fight.
Call yourself an analyst. This is why we can't get UFC credentials, Dave.
Honestly, I mean, here's
Kevin Holland,
Jeff Neal, Vicente Luque, Kevin Holland,
Rory McDonald. Honestly,
Rory, that's a good one.
His best win.
I think we're forgetting though that his era, he was the draw with Woodley, Rory McDonald, Johnny Hendricks, Johnny Hendricks, Jake Ellenberger. That was a sick knockout. I kind of forgot about that.
That was only it gets funnier because Jake Ellenberger laughed about karate.
No, his best win is Robert Whittaker.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, he might be a UFC Hall of Famer. After hearing that, the wins of what Greg said about his length of age is a true story. Kevin Holland, our era, the middle era of Robert Whittaker, and then a Rory McDonald of the era of yesteryear. That's a great little.
That's a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah. Let me ask you this though.
Sure.
Every single one of those wins comes with an asterisk. Beat Robert Whittaker at 170. Robert Whittaker at 170. The brain is dehydrated. You're telling me this man gets beat with like a kick to the face and then gets absolutely annihilated by Yoel Romero and just is fine with it? Like, I think that was the weight cut that beat him. And then you go Rory McDonald. Dude, that was when Rory McDonald found Christ. And look, it's not all of us, but he went downhill after that. And I'm super happy for him, but I'm just saying, like,
what about the Johnny Hendricks knockout?
Johnny Hendricks.
In 2016, Johnny Hendricks was still
post
USADA.
Post USADA.
Yeah. Did
Johnny Hendricks have a win post USADA?
I actually don't know.
I don't think he did.
I don't think so.
I think it might have been Neil Magny beat him.
Oh my gosh. His last win was Hector Lombard in 2017. So he had
another post USADA guy.
USADA killed the heavyweight division and Johnny Hendricks.
And Hector Lombard.
So my short answer is no. I don't think Stephen Wonderboy Thompson should.
No, okay, that's fair.
All right, I derailed us. I'm sorry. What is the most underrated banger of UFC Nashville?
Underrated banger. See, I don't know if this.
I got a good one.
I don't have like an underrated. Well, you go first.
Nate Landwehr versus Morgan. I don't know how to say it.
Shaw, right? See, I don't think that's underrated. I think that people are excited for that fight. That's why I didn't pick that. But I think that's the right answer. That's a banger.
I mean, but everybody's talking about Steve Garcia and Kelvin Kattar. That's literally, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't even know. I didn't remember that Nate Landwehr and this guy were on this card.
Really?
Yeah. No, I agree with Grant on this. I do actually. Yeah, it's underrated.
Nobody's talking. Last post you saw about it. I've been seeing posts about Kelvin Kattar and Steve Garcia.
How about Mike Davis versus Ramirez? I think Mike Davis, second fight of the night. That's a very underrated, untapped fight right now.
That's a more underrated fight in my opinion.
But Mitch,
that's not a banger.
An 0-1 versus 6-2, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, a 6-2 in the UFC. 2 losses being
Gilbert, Bonfim.
Yeah, like you see what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't make sense. The only thing that makes less sense than that is Derek Lewis versus a guy with 1 fight in the UFC, and he's a plus 230 underdog. That's insane to me.
Whoa, we'll get into that later. Lock of the card, underdog picks. We'll get into that later. What's the guaranteed finish at UFC Nashville?
I think I gotta go. Well, I'm kind of leaning towards Austin Lane and Vitor Petrino.
Yeah, that's the correct answer. Come on, yeah, that doesn't last 5 minutes. It doesn't.
There's no way that goes.
Yeah, no way.
There's no way that goes 15 minutes.
Yeah, doesn't last 5.
Guys are sling. That's kind of going to be a banger too, but it might be very short. So I don't know.
I'm taking Chitty and Jake Matthews.
Nice. That's a good fight.
I don't even know who's going to win. I just don't see it going the distance. Chitty is so dangerous in the first round, and Jake Matthews have struggled with those kind of guys. But if he can weather that storm, I just think that Chitty might slow down. So it's like either a 3rd round finish or a 1st round finish.
I like it. What fight on UFC Nashville will go the distance?
Lauren Murphy and Eduardo Mora.
Yeah, same.
Who is the underdog pick you guys have for UFC Nashville?
I'm taking Derek Lewis. 26 UFC fights versus 1 UFC fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's this big of an underdog, to be honest.
When you look at Teixiera, or however you say his name, he's not like a specimen. He's not quick like the champion. He's not shredded like Jalton Almeida. I'm a little confused as to why he's so 8 fights versus 40 fights.
That's a big difference.
Only in our sport, by the way.
Your answer is correct, but for the sake of having a different answer, I would take Jake Matthews as an underdog as well. I think that's a very close fight, and I think it's a very winnable fight for Jake Matthews. He's super tough.
Yeah.
And he's grindy, and I expect Chidi to slow down if he can't get it done early. So I'm surprised Derek Lewis is as big of an underdog as he is.
I know. The UFC, it's what we remember your last. That's it. We don't remember a career. We don't remember legacy, and we remember your last. It's crazy.
But that's what's funny to me, because Derek Lewis's last fight looks the exact same as his first fight.
No, you're right. You are right.
You want somebody that's consistent. It's Derek Lewis.
Yes, you're right. Good point. This is the close. Second.
He's going to knock out Curtis Blades 3 times in a row, and then lose to Junior Dos Santos with 1 leg. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy,
dude. Talking about screw you, Sada. You took away Junior Dos Santos from us. Screw you guys. All right.
Well, honestly, I think that if you have
after too,
right? If you have a weight class as bad as heavyweight, I think they should be allowed to be exempt from drug testing. I don't care about that belt anyway. Like, dude, the heavyweights used to be the most exciting division.
We were talking about it.
We talked about it. We did it.
You had 10 lightweights on the card, and everybody was signing in just to see the heavyweight fight, which was like Cain Velasquez versus Junior Dos Santos.
I know.
That's a heavyweight fight.
A prelim used to be Overeem versus Rosenstrike. Pre-USADA was amazing. Big Nog versus Bigfoot Silva. Come on, incredible.
Alistair Overeem versus Brock Lesnar. Get out of here.
So fun.
Just the pictures of Alistair Overeem from earlier in his UFC career, like they look otherworldly. He doesn't look like a real human
100%.
being.
Roy Nelson versus Frank Mir. Just
our heavyweight main event is an 8-0 guy versus a 40-fight veteran.
Yeah.
It's different.
It's just different era. Time, which is crazy because Derek Lewis was in that time too.
True story. He wasn't on anything, I would guess. All right, this is a good one. I think there's 2 answers, and I would love, this is a good one. Who is the biggest superstar going in to UFC Nashville?
Is there one?
I mean, it's got to be Derek Lewis, right?
Going into it. Yeah, it's got to be Derek Lewis because he's the biggest name.
Yeah, 100%.
Wonderboy Thompson.
We just established that he's not Hall of Fame worthy, so.
Well, I don't think Derek Lewis is a lock for a Hall of Fame as well, but came out with Jack Black. He's in movies. He's pretty big. He's got a YouTube channel. Big guy. Wonderboy, just throwing it out there.
That's fair. Maybe a tie between the two of them.
No. If you want Derek Lewis, I don't want to talk you off your pick. I'm just saying I think there's legitimate.
Okay. Worldwide, probably Wonderboy. In the MMA community, probably Lewis. Lewis has a pretty strong cult following.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know?
Like who do you think gets asked for pictures more? I bet it's Derek Lewis.
Ooh. That's a good one.
He's also more noticeable.
Remember, the ladies also ask Wonderboy for pictures, not just the guys.
Yeah, but
dude, there's not a lot of females asking for UFC, at least in my, I don't know, I think it's a guy thing. It's a bro thing.
Yeah.
Unless you're Wonderboy.
Oh, wait. If they're at UFC in New Orleans at the pay-per-view and they both win by first round knockout and there's a meet and greet and it's Derek Lewis or Wonderboy, who has a longer line?
Lewis. 100%.
Yeah, Lewis.
Wow. Okay. That's the answer.
So funny. He's such a character.
He's funny.
He is really funny. He is good. He's good. Okay. Prospect to watch at UFC Nashville.
I'm gonna go with Morgan Share. I really like him. I feel like people were super excited about him when he made his debut in Paris. And then he hasn't even been super inconsistent in my opinion. I feel like he's still a really solid prospect, and he's just people just aren't as high on them as I think they should be. And I think he's developing and he'll grow, and I think people will be really high on him again.
Respect. Grant Dawson?
I mean, it's got to be Gabriel Bonfim to me.
That's a good pick.
His little brother was such a letdown, which thank God because he's in my sport, my weight class. But I feel like he's the real deal. He's the real deal. I think Wonderboy's going to put up a good fight, and we're going to really get to see how good this guy really is. I imagine that he will pass with flying colors.
I like it. 2 left here at Banana Blitz. Who has the most to gain at UFC Nashville?
Probably Teixiera Teixiera, to be honest.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, the undefeated heavyweight. If he knocks out Lewis, he's 1 away.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. It's so easy to get a title shot at heavyweight. It's so easy to achieve, move your way up the rankings. I feel like this is an easy path to a title shot for him. Not that Derek Lewis is easy, but if he wins, it's...
No, I totally agree with you. Totally agree.
I'm gonna say Steve Garcia. And it's not so much of a I agree with what she's saying about the heavyweight, but if we just saw a really boring fight. I didn't want to say that because I'm a boring fighter too, but we saw a really boring fight with Yusuf Zalal and Calvin Kattar, and everybody even hating the fight with a win like that is okay, Yusuf Zalal is the real deal. He's
ranked now. Yeah.
If I remember correctly, if Steve Garcia goes out there and knocks him out, I think you have to argue okay, this dude's legit. Real deal.
That's fair.
Let's put him ahead of these guys. I think Steve Garcia, depending on how he wins, if he even does win, which I think he will, but I think he's got his next fight could be somebody on the Josh Emmett level.
Oh, I agree. And to the same argument, I feel like he's been on a heck of a tear and has been been waiting for this moment for a while, and he just hasn't gotten that right matchup that will give him this. So that's a good answer.
We talked with Steve 2 weeks ago, Elle. We talked about a futuristic. If he wins this one, maybe it's him versus Aljamain Sterling, kind of a headliner of an Apex kind of a card. He's that much of a jump. You're right. Josh Emmett, Aljo in that realm, 6 through 11, or it could be Mosar's 33rd straight featherweight fight of him not fighting for the championship. Either or.
I actually could see him fighting Aaron Pico, assuming.
Yeah, good point. Yes, that's a good one. As a maybe fight night headliner at the Apex.
That'd be a fun fight.
Co-main event. We just saw the Pitbull brother. He lost to somebody way up in the rankings, and now he's got an interesting matchup in a co-main event, which I'm totally blanking on who he's fighting.
Ige.
Thank you.
Yeah. Like that makes sense. You
right.
If Pico loses a Steve Garcia after a knockout of Calvin Kattar, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I love it. Last one here, Banana Blitz, and then one last fun thing when we this is because we're past the 2 hours. We can be really this is straight fight bananas, loyalists. But who has the most to lose now here, guys? We talked about gaining and winning. If they lose this fight, they go down the list. Who has the most to lose at UFC Nashville?
I have my answer pretty locked
Grant
in.
said his name 3-4 times. That's the one I'm leaning on. So let's see if he says it again right now. Go with the Grant.
Bonfim.
Yeah. I think it's Bonfim.
He loses to Wonder Boy.
Yeah, I agree. Grant?
I'm going to disagree.
Okay.
Just on one, I think he's the second person who has the most to lose.
Okay.
Just because anything can happen. I got knocked out by Bobby Green, absolutely flatlined, and now the only person who reminds me of that is my dad. So it's like, you have time to recover from this. You have time to come back from this. I think that if Calvin Kattar loses this fight, we'd never see. Nobody talks about Calvin Kattar anymore. I think we never see a Calvin Kattar that is revamped, rejuiced, reinvigorated. We never get to see that. I think he's done. I think he becomes I hate to say this because he just beat me, Bobby Green of featherweight. Hey, we have this prospect. Do you want to get knocked out by him? Sure.
I think that's the right answer.
Yeah.
Wow. Calvin Kattar headlines Game Bred Bare Knuckle in the fall. That's what you're maybe saying if he loses this fight.
That's not what I said.
Okay. All right.
Honestly, it was way worse.
Jeez.
No, I think that's the right answer. That is, yeah. Bonfim has plenty of time to bounce back.
Oh, yeah. And it's like it's such a competitive weight class. And
also Wonder Boy's such a hard puzzle. Sometimes you could be the better fighter, but you just couldn't figure the puzzle out in 15 minutes and you lost. It could just be tough. So
Allie's in our house.
You gotta go?
No.
Okay. All right. No, so that was Banana Blitz. There we go. We are done.